Now for example 2, one of the things we want to recognize is that once again we seem to have a pretty simplistic numerator, x squared and y squared. So I don't see any shifts there, so that's going to mean that my center is at 0, 0. Again, we have to get used to writing this down and labeling it because these are part of the instructions. But what we want to know and remember in an ellipse that A is bigger than B. So when I'm looking here and trying to decide where my a squared and b squareds are, I'm going to recognize that my a squared is going to be my 36 because it is the larger value, which means my movement for x to the vertex is going to be positive and negative 6. But because that's beneath the y, when I count 6 in each direction, I want to make sure that I am doing so, in this case, in a vertical direction. So my vertices are going to be 0, positive 6 and 0, negative 6. Now, sometimes I'll write the positive one first or the negative one first. That is up to you. And as long as you're capable of checking those answers, the order with which you present the two vertices is not important. So then what we have is we have our b squared to be 16, which gives us a b value of positive and negative 4. Now again, that's underneath the x, which means that from the center we're going to count 4 to the right and 4 to the left. And those are our co-vertices, so we want to make sure that we list the ordered pair that goes with them. Negative 4, 0 and positive 4, 0. Then we're going to draw our smooth ellipse. Now sometimes it gets a little bit harder as the points are further away, so you might want to do so kind of in a very faint fashion and make sure that you're happy with it. And or especially because you have a pencil, you're going to have the ability to erase and smooth this out if need be. So it's not a bad job. And then we have to go back one more time and remember that the last thing that we're supposed to find are the foci. And the foci, again, are formed from a relationship. And I'm going to encourage you to write this formula every time, because the more you write these things down, the sooner you're going to get them memorized, which you will have to do before the test. So you're going to have 36 minus 16. That gives you a c squared of 20, and if we reduce that to its simplest form, we're going to have 2 root 5. Now if you were to accidentally leave it as square root of 20, certainly that is okay, and it might give you a nice idea on where it is from an estimation standpoint, because square root of 20 is somewhere probably between 4 and 5 away. So as I count 1, 2, 3, 4, I know that sometimes the focus is going to be somewhere in here, because I can do that estimation. So I'm okay with either the simplified version or the estimated version if you find that to be more helpful. So again, we're going to go down square root of 20, or we're going to go up square root of 20. And again, if you prefer to write it with the 2 root 5, whichever is going to help you, but from a graphing standpoint, the square root of 20 might be an easier fashion for you. All right, next up, example 3. Oh, but before we do that, we want to remember that we could name this to be a vertical ellipse, because that might be helpful in our process.